No better person to have up here than our 5-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion and 7-time winner here at Martinsville Speedway. 7. Just 7. Jimmie Johnson has joined us. And Jimmie, obviously this is a track that you've got, like I said, 7 of those clocks. I have no idea where you put them all, but I'm sure you're looking forward to trying to get number 8.
Definitely looking forward to competing for number 8. We had a great race here in the fall, and I'm expecting good things to happen once again. And regardless of car, rules package, aero implications, there's something about this track that it might change a small percentage of what goes on in the car, but the majority of of why you're successful here sticks with you, and that's a nice thing to have in your back pocket each time you come here once you figure out the track.
Okay, we'll start over here. We'll take this gentleman, and then we'll go to Viv, and then to Nate.
Jimmie, Kenny Beck, WXII 12, NBC affiliate in Greensboro, Winston-Salem. Given some of the feuds that are being talked about as we enter this weekend, how much do you think we might see a little bit more of that activity this weekend, given all the bumping and grinding that normally goes on at Martinsville? And as somebody who's had a lot of success here, how concerned are you that beef between a couple of other drivers might catch you when you're, otherwise uninvolved in it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's an element of our sport that we deal with often, and I can't recall all the beefs that are out there. There's obviously 1 or 2 that have been in the spotlight. One of those situations can't take place because Denny's not in the car. Tony and Joey, something could happen, and I think we'll all be aware. Just as somebody watching on television, if you're in the car and you see those 2 near one another, just watch for a lap or 2 and see what's going on and make evasive moves if you need to at that point. But short tracks are where things kind of settle out and find home. So there might be some other issues kind of lingering that aren't so notable, but might flare up, and it's just something you deal with. And inside the car, we have the best seat in the house. You can see when someone's impatient. You can see when someone isn't willing to work with another guy and start understanding things early in the race, where there might be an issue.
Right here, Viv, go ahead.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. Sort of off topic. You own a 68 Camaro and a 49 Chevy, I believe?
I can never get the year of the Camaro correct. It's either a 67 or a 68, but yes,
okay. But,
that's right.
Were they gifts, or did you buy them, and do you have an interest in those kind of cars?
Yes, bought them both. The Camaro I built around the Randy Dorton engine that was sold in Randy's memory following the plane crash that happened here in 2004. So I built that car around that engine. For those that might think it would be fun to have a Sprint Cup engine in your everyday driver, it's not fun. The car did not drive very well, and had to pull the engine out and put a different engine in it. And then the truck, Mr. Hendrick helped me find the truck, and it's a 49, still original cab, so it has the 5-window step-side pickup truck that I drive most days. Love that truck. No, I didn't know. Work on it? Come on. You crazy? I put gas in it. Put air in the tires. No, Mr. Hendrick helped me find it. And then from there, I just drive it. Yep.
Let's stay right here with Brian, and then we'll go to Mike Embry. Where'd he go? Where's the mic? Oh, Nate. Nate Ryan's got it. No. Nate would never think of that. Go ahead. Nate Ryan's got the mic.
Respectful. Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Because Kerry asked, I'm curious now. 7 grandfather clocks. How many do you still have, and where are they?
Have them all. My friends and even family keep threatening to take one, or the next one I win is theirs. But 6 of them are in my warehouse, my man space that I have, and 1 is at the office. Okay. And they don't work. They don't all cling and clang at the same time.
You turn them off?
Yes, we turn them off. It'd be a little annoying.
My second question is somewhat related to the first one, that you're cognizant of all these rivalries, and especially with Stewart saying he's going to teach Joey a lesson and he thinks other guys might also be inclined. Is it beyond just like typical spinning a guy out retaliation? Are there other ways that they can make Joey Logano's life or any driver's life difficult here? Is it different? I guess what I'm saying is it not just you spin a guy in retaliation, you can also do other things on the racetrack out there to make their lives miserable?
Yeah, I mean, the give and take thing that takes place on the racetrack goes out the window. especially on a mile and a half, you can really hold somebody tight and prevent them from passing you lap after lap after lap, and create a lot of anxiety and send a message through something like that. Even how you pass someone, if you drive in there and just get position and turn under someone, sometimes you might get a guy loose, or you could attack and sit off their bumper by an inch or so and really give them a fun ride through the corner. So there are other things besides just dumping someone that you can do. But, the other flip side to it as well is, pick up the phone and call a guy. Go find him, and, you don't have to do it in front of the cameras. Go find a guy and tell him how you feel. I think at the end of the day, that's the route that I have chosen, and I think you can be far more effective by engaging with someone. Texting, that's not, a phone call is barely personal enough. Texting is not personal enough. Tweeting is definitely not personal enough. But engage, if you're that mad at someone, go do something about it instead of having a microphone and just saying you're mad. Go engage. And I think, there certainly has been engagement in the limelight in front of the cameras, which fans love, but there are other ways. Like right now, I guess the two transporters are parked next to one another. It'd be real easy to slide next door and be like, hey, look, we got to bury the hatchet on this deal. Or drive to somebody's house. We all live within 30 miles of one another, Or go sit at the bar and wait for him at the bar and punch him in the face. There's a lot of options.
How many times a year do you do that?
For me, I've watched Jeff Burton handle things this way, and I've watched other drivers comment about how I've handled situations, right or wrong. I always believe you got to talk to the person. And it's a hard phone call to make, or a hard face-to-face conversation when you have taken somebody out of the race. But Jeff Burton handled things that way with me here in 04, 05. And I had so much respect for him that he walked through my transporter, past my guys, didn't lie to me. He said, man, I just used you up. I did. And I was like, man, I don't know how to really react at this point, but I appreciate you coming in here and telling me this. And it kind of explained to me showed me how I would like to handle things. And then I've kind of taken that route.
Good deal. Over here to Brian, and then looks like Mike Embry.
Brian Nelson, Motor Racing Network, some old business. This issue of blocking. Earlier this week, Ryan Newman said he thought it was kind of chicken racing. And, I guess, when you go to tracks like Daytona and Talladega, it's just a part of the deal. So when is it appropriate? When is it not appropriate? What's your take on racing with blocking?
Yeah, I feel like the plate racing, with plate racing, that's how you maintain your position. It's how you race there. You spend 90% of your time in the mirror and 10% looking out the windshield. Road course racing, blocking is really frustrating there and probably most visible. And then in those situations, even in open wheel, they give you one move to defend, and then you got to sit still. Our cars aren't, I guess with the open wheels, they're much more dangerous, and you really only get one move. We don't have that situation, but that gets really frustrating at Sonoma, at Watkins Glen. You'll have a run on somebody, they'll just pull down to the inside of the corner in front. And as a result of them blocking you, they slow you up quite a bit over the course of a lap before you know you have company from behind, and it gets real frustrating then. But blocking's part of what we do, and sometimes it works in your favor, other times it doesn't. Sometimes a driver will understand it, other times they don't. And those are decisions that we all make on the track, that when you're in the sport long enough, you realize what those decisions could lead to. And honestly, who you throw a block on, they could come back and haunt you. So as we're trying to win a race and win for our team, win for our sponsors, there are these other little elements that kind of, you may not consciously think of them, but there's a quick snapshot that flashes through your mind that when you're throwing a block, and I assume when you throw a block and you see the 14, you probably expect something's going to happen. He's made that known over the years. So, there are guys that you probably don't want to do that to. But again, at the end of the race, I feel like things go to the next level and they change. And to defend for a win, you have to take some extreme measures at times. And there's the simple block down low. There's also taking away someone's line that doesn't get talked about as much. But you run the line that the guy was catching you in, and technically that's blocking. You're taking his line away from him where he's making time on you. So it's just part of our sport. And I know it's a hot topic right now, but it's been in our sport for a long time, and it'll still be here for a long time.
Mike Embry.
Mike Embry, Speed.com. considering what can happen here in the closing laps, and you were a victim the last race here, can you drive defensively, or are you just always thinking over the last 5 laps about going forward? Can you look in the mirror and try to halfway prepare for some of the stuff that might be coming?
If ideally you're driving away and not defending, because the defensive line here is slower. And if you're worried about someone making a late braking move on the inside of you into a corner, the way you defend that is you drive in straighter, and your angle isn't as good in the center of the corner, and you have a slower turn. When you have clean racetrack in the lead, you want to run that huge arc. But if someone's slowly chipping away at your lead and catching you, you've got to defend more, and that's really your only defensive move at that point. And being aware of what's going on a restart. I can't recall it really only one 3-wide situation into turn 1 like that before. Didn't turn out all that well, but that one I had no clue what was going on. So much transpired in a short period of time, and as the contact started, I heard 3-wide, and it was already turned around. So those are tough, but something crazy is happening, especially when you have new tires close by. Tires are a big help here, and it's usually going to be, there's going to be some hurt feelings when that's all done.
Bob Pockris.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. What's it like to see what most of us would think of one of your main competitors here not racing, in the sense that Denny's won several times? You guys have had battles here, and he's not in the car. And any idea how you think Mark Martin will do racing that car?
I haven't thought of it from the perspective of Denny being here. I've, is for Race for the Win. I've thought of it more along the lines of how tough it must be to sit out. That's every driver's worst fear, every driver's nightmare, is to watch your race car on the track, and especially being injured, sitting there watching. So I've thought about that and what it might be like, the things that he's facing, things that he's thinking about. So that part I've put a lot of thought into, and certainly hope to never go through it. And the Mark side, as Mark pointed out to you guys when I was walking in, it's not his favorite track, but he had a couple of runs here in the 5 when we were teammates, and he climbed out of here with a huge smile on his face and felt like he could win. And that car will be fast, so I would expect Mark to be right there in the thick of things.
David Newton.
Yeah, Jimmy, David Newton, ESPN.com. 2 things, actually. First, I'd like to know your thoughts on the racing at California at the end, the block, and the wreck at the end. What you thought about the racing there and the style? And secondly, what's it like for Dale Jr.? Is he liking the fact that, he's in the points lead, but nobody's really paying attention because of all the other stuff?
Well, I think there's plenty paying attention, especially as fans, and we know how big of a fan base he has. So I feel like he's enjoying things. He's definitely earned the points lead, and we saw through last year this moment coming, and he actually led the points, and we've all seen it. So I think it just feels good to him and his team to be there in the thick and to back it up and to be there once again. So I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him as well. And then the racing, it was definitely aggressive. I had such a bad day across the board. I didn't see a lot of racing. I was being passed by a lot of guys. And at the end, with all the tire strategy taking place and the draft that this car has, I couldn't believe how tough it was to maintain your position, how easy someone could draft, how easy I could draft off of someone, the 4 or 5 wide. It was total chaos. Up front, that's where the spotlight was with the injury in the race win. Definitely aggressive there too, but I don't know how we didn't have a 20-car pileup in the middle of the pack. It was out of control.
He's got to get to the car here. We'll take final question. Carlos.
Carlos Mendez, Forward Star Telegram. Jimmy, have you seen, Dale's an even-keel guy. Did you see his demeanor, his mood change from last year to this year just in that 6-month stretch?
Just a little more relaxed, confident, and enjoying the moment. I mean, when I guess maybe 2-3 years ago, there were some points throughout him being at HMS where it wasn't as much fun and they weren't as competitive, and that's tough on anyone to go through that. So to see him, really the relationship that he and Steve have and what they have built together has brought a lot of confidence and certainly more fun. I mean, there's a lot more smiles and much more relaxed Dale Jr. today than I've seen in the past.
Jimmy, thank you so much, and good luck this weekend at Martinsville.